Welcome to the jungle, everybody. This is Show to V with Mike G, the show of life, the show of Calvados, the show of wine, the show of work and security at sororities at UT in the early 2000s. And today's guest is Austin veteran Josh Leving from Fino, from Midnight Cowboy, from Jeffries. These are all things Josh has been known for, but if none of these ring a bell, you'll most certainly know him by his new place that's opening up this week called Small Victory. I talked to Josh about jazz guitar, high school, college, working, cooking, the whole thing. I mean, Josh has been in all aspects of the business, and it's really clear that one thing is really the most important thing to Josh, and that is take care of people, be nice, and give them a great experience. I hope you enjoy this really, really in-depth conversation with Josh, and I got to know a lot about him, and I hope that you do too. So without further ado, here is Josh Leving.
I hear, all right, 5 minutes, guys, and it's last call. So I was just like, okay.
So was it like a series of teams?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't even, it was just like, Tober wanted, however many, I can't remember how many bartenders did it, but it was 3 at a time.
Okay.
And
so a team of 3.
Every 20 minutes.
Wow, that's fucking, and so it was like only 8 to
10 to 12.
10 to 12. Yeah, right. It's 2 hours, right?
Right.
Oh, that's crazy.
Right. So it was fun because, that kind of bartending, that speed bartending is, it's exhilarating, but sometimes it's stressful, and especially when you're like not familiar with the place.
Yeah.
But when there's like a time limit and I do this and
you can see the end of it in sight, right?
2 drinks, One of them's a shot of Fernet, so all I need is a clean glass. But I don't really care if it's clean because that guy doesn't care if it's clean.
But it was like the God damn it, I hate to even say it, but the who's who of the brilliant minds. I mean, I saw obviously Tober's there, Justin Elliott, Jason Cosmas, right?
Yep.
Who was on your team?
He was throwing hats. He was throwing Tanya Brava hats. I caught one.
Oh, was he really?
I have almost all the 86 Company swag.
Their swag, yeah.
One of these days, I'm going to be walking down and I'll have duck feet. I'll have like my Tanya Brava hat, my Tequila Cabeza hoodie and shirt.
When are they hiring you?
I know, right?
New head of marketing, new head of PR.
Yeah.
Maybe a more lucrative career at times too, right?
Yeah.
But
my team was me, Chris Bostic, and a guy I didn't even get to meet. He was from San Antonio. Because by the time we went on, it was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like
full packed and all that.
Yeah, I mean, it was like full throttle. JR was he was the MC in the back bar, while Tober was just
an MC.
Yeah.
The MC. The Bill Bellamy of Vox Depot.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm like asking JR, like, just where? And then he's just, I don't know, you know, like do this, put this there, so.
It's a great thing. I mean, on the music side of it, I recall like lots of us getting together. Do you remember, how long you been in Austin now?
99.
Oh, so you remember Handsome Joel? Do you remember that situation? He was a door guy or sound guy at Emos. And he was good dude. But nonetheless, like he was biking home off of Riverside. This is early 2000s. And actually, I think we played a show that night. And he was biking back Riverside. Somebody hit him and killed him. And so for months after, you know what I mean? Like the community, the music community at that point, like really rallied together to just make sure that we supported it and we raised as much money as possible, So this is not a different piece at all. This is another kind of community rallying behind a cause, and it is, what form of cancer was it?
I don't remember.
I can't remember either.
They didn't.
I'm not sure it ever got that. Yeah, I don't even know if it got that.
It didn't get
detailed.
that explicit even at the event.
Yeah, but it was whose son was it? It was
Chef Carlos.
The chef's son.
Yeah,
okay.
He's. I've met him before because he came in to Half Step with the executive chef.
Yeah.
Joe.
Yeah, Joe.
And I think he's kind of like his sous chef or sort of his recipe guy. Like Joe he described it one night. He's like, if I have an idea that I can't quite figure out, this is my guy.
He can do it. He can.
Yeah, it was his son.
I mean, it seemed like it was wrangled together pretty quickly too.
Very much so. Yeah.
So it's funny because I think that seemingly right, but maybe bartenders get a bad rap for being disorganized, or maybe that they don't have details in mind and stuff. But this proves just the opposite, right? Like you had a shit ton of people getting involved, being orderly, creating drinks, and it was all very, very organized. And I mean, how do you feel that the Austin community can really rally together that way?
Yeah, I mean, that's I think there's something to be said about the bartender lack of organization, because we definitely have like our mise en place.
Sure.
When we're working. And then we, try to kick out an event last minute like this. But I mean, every event, no matter what, is going to have an element of the unknown or surprise or whatever you want to call it. And I mean, you just shrug your shoulders, put your head down,
just do it.
Worker, it's fine. Yeah,
get it done.
I mean, I would say, like, as far as the bartender is the cook of the front of house.
Yeah,
definitely,
for sure.
They have to like make the thing that people want, but they also have to serve the thing that people want, and they have to figure out the problem.
And solve it. At the same time.
So with like. Yeah, it can look like it's out of control or something like that, but at the end of the day, it's like quietly controlled chaos.
Yeah,
Did
the cause resonate deeper with you because you're a father?
Oh my God, I like teared up. And left the room because I didn't want to be like. I'm around. So, I mean, I'm not a hermit bartender, but I'm definitely...
You're seemingly a family man.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't go out that much.
Yeah.
I work. I have my son. That's about it, you know? I like to go out, but I can't do it 5 nights a week. So I do it 5 nights a year, you know?
Yeah, which is different, but it's good. It's so good.
Yeah, I go to this thing, and my God, the bartending community... Every time I turn around, it's like another 20 new faces sprout up, and they all know each other.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, well, I guess I should know who these people are because I know him.
Are you being pushed out, Josh?
I know. I know.
It's hard because you get older and you're like if I don't keep in touch, man,
going to the dog food
pasture.
Factory. Yeah. So I was totally there. Like tearing up when I can't remember who was speaking, but I was just like, okay, I need to go outside because a bunch of strangers are looking at me now, you know?
Yeah. So, It's interesting. I mean, I'm not a father, and I will never, well, perhaps maybe someday, but I don't understand what that feels like. But I can't imagine anything worse than having to be presented with this set of circumstances,
Helplessness is the only thing I mean, that's probably what kind of went through my head at that point, because it's like I have an amazing child.
How old is he now?
4.5.
Cool.
I feel blessed. I'm not a spiritual person, but I can...
Something larger than yourself,
right? I can co-opt that word for these purposes because, he's healthy, he's smart, the whole 10 fingers, 10 toes thing.
Yeah.
But it goes beyond that. Like, he's just got such a rad personality. His mom and I are good, like, parent partners, like... Our schedules are wacky, but we still make it work and whatnot. So I feel like I've got a good thing.
How do you, man? I always think my friend recently had a daughter. We were talking the last time I talked to him. We were having drinks. He's like, yeah, my wife's pregnant. And I'm like, oh, that's great, man. And he's like, yeah, I really want to have a son. He's like, typical El Paso dude, lived there his whole life. I'm not sure what typical El Paso dude means, except that he's Hispanic and he likes sports. That's it. That's all I know.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah. And I know so many El Paso dudes that are typical.
So, yeah, and I
know exactly what you mean.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
But he's a great guy, career driven, and he's like, yeah, if I have a daughter, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. And lo and behold, he has a daughter, and he's like at a loss. I mean, what do you do? Yeah. So there's bound to be a little bit of a sigh of relief that you have a son. You know, it's a little, maybe it's not easier, but at least like, oh shit, well at least I was a kid once, a boy. I kind of understand.
And I was a hell in a hand. I wasn't a hell in a handbasket. I was a hellion.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I see me and him big time, or at least what I understand to be me at his age. And I'm like, I gotta cut you some slack because you're way better than I know I was.
And he'll never know.
And
right?
he'll never know.
He'll never know.
Because I mean, yeah, I feel like I don't cut him as much slack because it's like he doesn't, for example, I live right by a McDonald's, and to him, that McDonald's is a blank space in the universe. He's never acknowledged it.
Doesn't resonate at all.
Doesn't know what it
is.
That's
amazing.
Because I live by Dan's Hamburgers. If we're gonna go get a hamburger, we walk to Dan's.
And he totally knows what that is, right?
Oh yeah, he asked for it by name.
That's amazing, yeah.
And I just and I'm not even necessarily. I mean, I would never eat at McDonald's again. Not if I had to.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I would, but.
The fries are still pretty good.
The fries are good, yeah. But, it's a principle thing.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
And it's not that hamburgers are the best food in the world, but, like, having, grown up, gone to, college and whatnot through the whole movement of foodie culture and all that.
Knowing where your food comes from.
Right, right. Even though I'm talking about Dan's Hamburgers. But, no, it's like, he drinks Topo Chico. That's his treat.
Really?
And he loves it and he craves it. And I hated Topo Chico up until I was like 15.
Yeah.
I went to Mexico a lot as a kid, and my whole family drank it.
Yeah, but you didn't.
But I was like, God, that shit sucks.
Because it doesn't taste like anything.
Yeah.
But now it's great.
It tastes like aggressive bubbles, and now I crave it. Yeah.
Aggressive.
Yeah, and since I've been giving Elliot, my son, Topo since he was, a day.
Yeah.
A day old. He craves it too.
That's it feels, God, I hate even use this word, but it feels so progressive. Like he is just already a couple phases
cooler
ahead
than I'll ever be.
Yeah. That's got to be a great feeling.
Well, I think, this is a cliche, but that's what every parent says. They want their kid to be better than they are.
Yeah.
Or have the opportunities or whatever. Like,
right.
I learned hard mistakes or whatever, and you'll have your own, but I'm in control. I'm shepherding your life.
Yeah.
Not in control, but I am.
Yeah.
But
as much as you can.
Right.
The invisible hand.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So I'm gonna teach you what is good and what is bad.
Yeah.
What to eat, what not to eat, and I think, being a person that loves to cook and works in this industry and whatnot, 3 meals a day at least as we eat.
Yeah.
That is the biggest guide for what makes a person. I think.
And I agree too. It's
whether
changes
or not
that
that's
become
true.
No, but it doesn't matter if it's true for everybody. But there is something, and I guess I'll have to kind of assume. Do you mean the process of sitting down and having a meal with your family is the important part, or is it merely just the nutrition
and just
part?
the raw ingredients?
Yeah.
The diet therein.
Yeah.
Like he's a 4-year-old kid. He likes candy.
Sure, who doesn't like candy?
But we still have his little Halloween bucket of candy because
still stuff in there.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, he'll ask for it and I'll say no, and he'll just okay. Yeah, and then I'll say yes, and it's not like he has to. Like if I let him go at it, he'll probably finish the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I don't. There's never like a fight about it, Like
it's so. You have such a diplomatic relationship. Yeah. What? This is not what I've learned about fatherhood. This is not at all what I've learned about it.
I feel like I've totally caught a break. Cause he definitely he's strong-willed.
Yeah. Stubborn, you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's a Taurus and
almost
Taurus Aries cusp, which is
jeez.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
fiery and bullheaded.
In the Chinese zodiac, he's a rabbit. And they're shy and talented, and they get along with everyone, and they're lucky. Mm-hmm. So that's the balance there. Like, because he is definitely like in his little class at daycare, he's always the sort of assertive one that everyone follows, because of his charisma. But, I introduce him to someone new, and he like shies away, looks down,
So maybe something about the comfort or the familiarity of the social circle.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
it's interesting.
In his own comfort level, he'll just be
he'll thrive.
Yeah, the sore thumb.
That's so cool. Yeah. It's interesting. I can vicariously live through you as a father, which is nice.
A lot of people do,
because I'm already like wrinkled enough. I don't think I need another source of stress right now. No. I'm sure you don't either. But so when you talk about your family was visiting Mexico a lot, is that to say that you grew up in Texas?
Yeah, I'm from Corpus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Did you get to do beach bum lifestyle at some point?
Yeah, totally.
Did you?
Yeah, I was born in Houston.
Where about in Houston?
Mid-city, basically.
Oh, okay.
A hospital that's no longer there. I can't even remember the name of it. Mm-hmm. My family moved from Missouri to Corpus in the early 70s. Hurricane Celia.
Mm-hmm. Before my time, unfortunately.
Yeah, this was 71, 72. Knocked down some properties that my grandfather was involved, like owning, managing. Excuse me. And so they moved to Houston for about a decade, but they had bought a house in Corpus that they kept.
Oh, okay. So when do you come about? You an 80s
81,
kid?
yeah.
81, okay.
Yeah,
so you're younger
early
than me.
81.
34 now?
Yeah, I'll be 35 in January.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Are you an Aquarius?
Uh-huh.
What date?
January 27th.
No shit.
Yeah.
February 4th.
There you go.
There we go, dude.
Yeah.
Do you ever meet other Aquariuses?
Oh, I gel so well with them.
Me too.
Yeah.
Or we're different, like completely different.
Yeah,
it's strange.
I've seen that. Yeah,
it's really weird.
Yeah,
I met the hippie version of myself one time. Like he even kind of looks like me, and I'm like, you're the hippie version of me. Yeah. I'm way more uptight. You make me feel like an asshole. This fucking comparison, So, well, how was were you like? And we talked about this a little bit. Where you were playing guitar and you had this hollow body Gretsch, right? Or Guild. Sorry,
X170.
The other G.
Yeah.
Was that something?
I always wanted a Gretsch,
dude.
But I didn't get around to it.
Oh, I had a Gretsch one time. It was really good. Sold it. I still regret selling that guitar. But was that something that kind of guided your social life in high school and stuff, playing music?
Yeah, definitely. I have a friend group that we're all still tight.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, about 8 guys.
Really?
Yeah, we all grew up from as little as 5 years old to some of them started joining the group in 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade.
Oh, that's so cool.
But we all we have a group chat, and
really,
some of them live in New York, a couple of them live here. Like, we're all really tight. Mm-hmm. We try to get together, around the holidays and whatnot. But 2 of those guys, we were in a classical guitar trio in high school.
Which one of you was I think a Mendovia? the Sergio, man, the main one. I'm gonna pass it because I can't remember what his name is now. But he's really, really good stuff. But anyway, so you're playing in a trio.
Yeah.
Do you guys determine who's bass, soprano, baritone, alto? Is that how it works?
No, I mean it's we were playing just a couple, like some modern pieces. Like we competed in UIL, placed and all that. Yeah, we were not bad.
That's cool. All nylon string.
Or yeah. And so I was doing classical guitar, and then I also was in the jazz band as the only jazz guitarist.
No shit. Is this middle school?
Or high school? No, that was high school. Yeah, that was why I bought the Guild. I worked this really crappy job. Well, no. I mean, looking back, maybe it was
pretty rad.
It was a greasy spoon.
Yeah.
This divey restaurant, live music place in Corpus. I was a cook. It was my first job. It was what set me down this
path,
hospitality path,
sordid path.
Yeah. And I worked there for like 10 months my junior year, and I'm pretty sure all the money I made went to that guitar. Like that, just to show what you earn
Yeah, of course.
In 97 or whatever.
It's a good year, though.
As a cook, yeah. I was earning like $5.65 an hour or something like that.
Shit, that's right. 97, that's about right. Yeah, $5.15, $5.6, like terrible wage.
We'll give you a raise. You can order off the executive menu for your lunch.
You could have a ham and cheese instead of just a cheese.
Just a cheese. Yeah.
So did you have aspirations of having a career in music, or was it just like a nice escape? I don't know.
Yeah, so I went to UT, and it's kind of hard to say what I was even like thinking with music, because I've always loved it, but I got frustrated with it because I especially like the jazz band thing, right?
Yeah.
I was in a quintet that was in the jazz band. I was in the jazz band. But I always struggled with improvisation.
Really?
And it made me just like, fuck it.
Like befuddled you. Like
yeah. Like if it came to like music theory and chord structure and all that, yeah, I could do that. Sure. That was great,
But put on your own.
Right. Maybe I would just be like, like, just like
harmonic.
Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, I would do a lot of, triad stuff because I knew that but then that sounded so basic, you know?
Right.
And I was, I don't know. I just never, I never felt comfortable in my skin.
Yeah.
Even though I loved it.
Sure.
So it was weird.
Well, that's a whole nother step.
So I almost majored in fine arts at UT.
What did you end up majoring in reality then?
Liberal arts.
I
finished with history and geography.
Because it was a particular interest, because the fine arts stuff didn't work out?
Well, the fine arts thing didn't work out because at the time, and I think they've eventually might have gotten rid of this, maybe not. But you couldn't major in guitar as a jazz focus. You had to do classical. And even though I was
you're playing
that's what I did before.
Sure.
I kind of was over it, it's just that time when you're 18 and
it's hard. You're like, you rebel against everything.
Right.
And you don't really know why.
And I've moved out of my, like I'm in my own new place.
Yeah. Were you in the dorms at UT?
Yeah.
Jester?
No.
I remember nights at Jester, even though I didn't go to UT, but at the places.
I was in Roberts.
Oh, it's not bad.
No, it's cool.
Yeah,
I liked it.
Really cool.
I mean, it was 1 year in an apartment.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't know. Like, I in high school, I had my friend group. We played beyond just the classical trio.
Yeah,
we had like a jam band that just played grunge and metal and
just
all that.
The other stuff,
ska,
the louder
punk.
stuff.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And so there were times, I guess, where I thought like, yeah, it'd be great to be in a band, but
did you find man, I almost with like a stammering single note harmonic. I remember my first guitar solo for jazz band UIL.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like get this blunt dissonant thing. But anyway, but I somehow that ended up working out, and I loved writing, because for some reason it was my way to express my unique vision on music and stuff. So was it also the case that, like, since you couldn't solo or perhaps like even improvise, that you were not able to write songs for yourself too?
Yeah. What I would do is when I would play like by myself in my room, I would be fine.
Yeah.
It was that feeling. It's not even stage fright, but it was like, if I'm with the group, sure. If I'm even just completely carbon copying a solo or something from like a pop song, I can do that. But it was just that notion of like, now you're playing, everyone's watching you, and whatever comes out is purely from your head.
Yeah.
You
don't want to be accountable for it? Yeah.
I can't do that.
That's interesting.
So this is funny. There's I think he actually passed away now, but famous jazz guitarist Al Viola. He used to play.
Dude, I remember that guy. Yeah.
He sat in with my high school jazz band. Oh my God, he was so nice. Sweet old man. He must have been in his 70s then, so he would, if he did not pass away, he'd be like 100 now. He had such a sweet guitar.
Yeah.
I think it was like one of the like Wes Montgomery Gibson G5 or L5 or whatever that's called.
The
L5,
ones that were way out of my price range.
$5,000. Yeah.
Always still. Yeah.
And, it's so crazy because we were playing some like, it was a standard. It was a Duke Ellington song or something like that, Satin Doll or something. And watching him, just the fluidity and like he's talking to me and looking at me and playing a chord solo.
Yeah. Oh
like
my
the whole
God.
solo he's playing is just chords. And he's like, and telling me what he's doing. Like I'm, going from A augmented, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And I was just like, I'll never get to that level.
That's an insane level of competency.
That's talent.
Yeah.
And I might have the drive, but I don't know if I have the talent. And that's kind of what always was in the back of my head.
Yeah.
Like I can be the rhythm guy, like all day long. I'll keep like I like to play bass or drums, but guitar was always the thing I played. So it's like, I'll just jump, Freddie Green it the whole time.
Yeah.
And then so I'm doing that. It's like, okay, no, you go. And I'm just like, oh. Yeah. Like, just sad face.
Series of car accidents.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
I'm sure it was okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he's probably like, just you keep at it.
Yeah.
Josh. You do it.
It was probably better than I remember it because I think he even said as much, but it was just one of those things where, especially with jazz, if you get on a wrong lick and you just can't find your way off of it, it sounds like, well, I mean, I guess it's okay if it's like super free jazz or whatever.
Right. Just chromatic all the way up and back down.
Like, I'll find it. It's in there. So that was my time with jazz.
So what drove you to geography and history then? Was there a particular time?
Yeah, I kind of danced around different majors, and I had, I don't credit the Corpus Christi Independent School District for really setting me on my higher education
Yeah, let's
path.
not credit them.
I don't want to. I went to my guidance counselor to talk about college my senior year, and she's like, and this isn't an indictment. This is just kind of crazy. She's like, you can think about trade school.
What?
And I was like, I'm in the top 10% of my class. Like, aren't you supposed to tell me your dreams or yours?
They're just right in your hand if you hold your hand out.
And I mean, it wasn't like, and I like, maybe now looking back on it, I know the community I came from, and maybe that's why she was saying that. Like, I had a huge graduating class.
Did you ever wrong her? Did she have some kind of vendetta? That's so strange.
She's a high school teacher, Their whole life is a vendetta.
That's true, yeah. Well, for some
of them, not all of them.
No,
but the ones
love
in Corpus, they plucked them from a very
Stanford
unique,
prison experiment.
a very special place and time in the world. Yeah. Very weird group of people there.
Well, so then how do you know how to go to college then? If the people that you're kind of looking up to are saying, well, trade school, you could be a good electrician.
I mean, all my friends, and of course my folks. I mean, I lived with my grandparents through middle school and high school.
Yeah.
And so there was never not like you have to go to college, but it was kind of like, I mean,
wouldn't be so bad.
Should.
If yeah. Wait, so where were your folks in this period then?
My dad lives in Corpus, but the way my sort of personal history goes is when my mom and dad had me, they were both super young. They were like 23, 24.
Yeah.
That was late 70s, early 80s. They were partying kids.
It. Yeah.
And my dad was an electrician, like a journeyman going, and they make you do all the like grunt work,
Yeah.
So he was having those like super late or like long days and whatnot.
Right.
And my mom was a bartender. My grandparents have my dad, my uncle, and my two aunts. So my youngest aunt is only 12 years older than me.
Oh, no kidding.
So she's like a big sister to me. So there was a point when I was around 2 years old, that my grandparents were like, okay, well, we're moving back to Corpus. We think Josh should come with us.
Yeah.
For the
They
stability.
just weren't cutting it, I guess. Yeah.
And it's like, they're living in like, my grandfather owned this motel, and in order to like give my pop a break, they just lived in this motel.
I see.
But they were like, we can provide a little bit more stability and and whatnot. So it just kind of was this natural thing. I have half brothers, I have a half sister, but I practically grew up like a single child.
Yeah. With like the exception of like your aunt being a little bit younger, or not younger than you,
older,
but younger,
right?
An older, younger aunt,
right? Exactly. Like
so, were your folks? Were they stay in Houston then?
Well, so my dad and my uncle and I think my mom all shared an apartment, and my dad and my mom eventually split up shortly thereafter.
Gotcha.
He and my uncle might have moved back to Corpus together or within like the year.
Right.
And then I lived with him quite a bit actually in Corpus. He ended up remarrying, met my stepmom.
Yeah.
We didn't get along that great.
No,
me
like
and my stepmom,
yeah.
and we get along great now. But so the option to live with my grandparents is always there.
Yeah,
and it's always appealing. I was just like kind of the spoiled kid.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, you got all the attention
to this day.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm like the young one.
Yeah,
they feel like, or even if they don't say it, I know that's how they think.
Yeah,
that's what my aunts say.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, man, we all, maybe not all this, but I got that same kind of story. It's like my real father, he just kind of left. He found out my mom was pregnant. He's like, I didn't sign up for this. I'm out of here.
Right.
And so it's like, you go, you move on, and you adapt. You're a kid. You don't give a shit. You're resilient as anything. When you're
it's not written anywhere that life is supposed to go a certain way.
Yeah, never.
Other than Hollywood.
Yeah. Well, you live and then you die.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ultimately
it.
That's good. It leaves a lot of opportunity in the middle.
It's true.
To form your own narrative.
Right.
So you get out of UT. When did you graduate?
That would have been 2003.
Okay.
I did not a victory lap, but kind of like a half jaunt just to finish. Made sure I was ready.
Yeah.
Really, what it was I had a final paper. I mean, talk about like just the stupidest thing ever. I was a history major, and so to get back to your original question, I always liked history, but Corpus Christi ISD history is just kind of like history according to Donald Trump.
Right.
Which
means it didn't exist 50 years ago.
Exactly. Like there was the good old days and
Holocaust,
now there's
what?
this.
What are you talking about? There's never a Holocaust.
And I mean, it might not have been that bad, but it wasn't until, I went to the liberal education system
UT.
With communists and socialists and learned about other things.
Women that don't shave their armpits.
So I took like these Russian history classes and American history classes, like, from French and Indian War up to like Jacksonian. And I was like, dude, this is awesome. This is crazy. Like our history is
I think that the Capitol was burned down.
Yeah.
And they had to rebuild it. That's insane.
Yeah.
Just in the epicenter of the country.
Right.
It was the French, right? Or the Indians that burned it down. Now this goes to show I'm not a history major.
Yeah.
But there's some shit going down.
Yes.
Lots of war just down the street, basically.
Right.
I mean, it's transferred to a smaller class-based and
I think
race-based war.
If you want, if you just want the Cliff's Notes, The Last of the Mohicans pretty much tells all you need to know.
Done. I love Daniel. Yeah. Daniel Day-Lewis.
You watch that, watch Platoon, you're good,
How does Platoon figure into
That's
it?
American history.
That's true.
Right there.
We shot a lot of people.
Yeah.
They happened to be Asian. Then we came home and Charlie Sheen has AIDS.
Yeah.
See, there you go.
That's it. Boom.
That's it.
Yeah.
Boom.
Willem Dafoe gets
crazy. Well, no, Tom Berenger gets crazy.
And he shoots him in the back.
God,
which
so
is funny
terrible.
because that's the picture on the front. And you think that it's
Victory.
And you think it's Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's Willem Dafoe.
Huge.
Reaching.
Oliver Stone, man.
I know.
Always
so
with those
good.
red herrings. I love Oliver Stone. How do you feel about Wall Street? We'll take it this brief tangent if you a film dude.
The Gordon Gekko version?
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Oh yeah.
It's so good.
So good.
Still so pertinent too?
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's crazy.
I watched it like 3 years
I've seen
ago,
that guy.
and I was like, this is not okay.
Same.
This is
Nothing
what's
has changed.
right
It's just
now.
larger now.
And we were supposedly made an example of what's his name, Jordan, whatever from Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh,
you know?
right.
Like that was supposed to be like, oh yeah, we're cleaning these guys up.
Whatever. Dude.
Yeah, bunch of crap.
No, that's crap.
Yeah. So anyway, history and geography turned out to be like maps and stories.
Yeah.
I like both of those things a lot.
Did you get to travel a lot when you were younger?
Not then. I traveled because of being a wine buyer.
Yeah.
I got to go to France and Italy and Mexico a lot before when I was a kid, but that's kind of like just going to South Texas.
When you say kid, I mean you had to have been of drinking age, right?
Well, no. For Mexico, it was like
Just
6
family
years
stuff?
old until like 22, family stuff.
Oh, cool.
For France and Italy, I went in 2009.
Yeah, that's pretty recent.
Back to back. Yeah.
So what did you do when you got out of school then? Did you find that job? Were you teaching?
No. I totally. So at first I had a job as a security guard, which was so cool.
Man, you know that actually makes lots of sense.
Yeah,
it really does.
Yeah.
You have the stat like tall.
I was a security
and
guard at like a couple of at the Health and Human Services building right there by the intramural fields.
Yeah.
Oh, that job was so bad.
It was bad, good, bad.
Bad. I mean, it was back when the internet. It was okay to still operate Windows 95 on a state computer. I mean, not really Windows 95.
But no, it's antiquated as shit.
Yeah, it was Internet Explorer. You're just sitting at a chair and making sure that when people buzz in, they look like the same person that was on the screen 2 seconds before. I mean,
it's bound to be pixelated and like kind of blurry.
Yeah, but still, I'm just sitting there and like,
hey. Yep. Did you ever give anybody a hard time just to be a funny guy? No.
And I thought it was so funny too because, so I'm at the Health and Human Services building. I only did that tour for like 6 weeks or something. But the shifts, man, they were from 6 to 6 and 6 to 6.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, and you're just standing or sitting or nodding off at the like. They had all these different posts, and my commanding officer. Well, I mean, we're literally talking about. I'm a security guard whose best weapon is a walkie-talkie.
Right, and even if you you could throw it. Yeah, but that's about how useful it is.
I mean, not to make light of anything, if this was like nowadays, like active shooter situation,
done.
I would have been worthless.
Yeah.
You know, so this building or whatever state agency. It's the Health and Human Services. My commanding officer was clearly like a military and or law enforcement reject. Like did not make the cut at all.
So he's overcompensation every day, right?
You address me as Lieutenant such and such, not by his first name. I'm like, you're such a poser. You know,
that's
like
terrible. Yeah.
I make $8.50. You make $9.25.
Yeah,
and you have a lot of stupid responsibility because they see that you think this is a career, and that's fine,
dude. That's totally fine. But you have to be a dick about it.
Don't take yourself that seriously.
That's the worst thing, man. Yeah, so 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So you must have got that out of there real
quick.
Well,
no, I did a couple different places because I was working. So
was it like a security company, different locations?
Sort of. Okay. Subcontracted.
Got it.
Yeah,
I remember there's a Pinkerton for a long time. Do you remember those guys?
Yeah.
The
Pinkerton agency from like Deadwood.
Yeah, which historically, do you remember where they started?
In New York.
Yeah, they were the Scabs.
Yeah.
That's where the whole thing started. Anyway, so take that. But so
I did sorority houses.
Oh, how was that?
Oh, that was
Did you enjoy that? Yeah. UT sorority houses, I assume.
UT. I'll go ahead and admit to the world to a crime that I committed.
Oh, Jesus.
They used to tell us help yourselves to whatever you want.
Yeah.
Well, a sorority house is stocked like ridiculous.
Right, like a Hyatt or something, right?
Or like a Hyatt that is preparing for like nuclear winter. And so they're like, you guys can have whatever you want. I mean, please take it. We're not going to eat it all.
Oh my
because
gosh.
it's just constantly restocked.
Yeah.
And my roommate and I are like, you serious? And like, yeah, of course. So the time that we would trade schedules, we would also trade, like I had the car.
Yeah.
And so we would share the car. So we'd pull into the back, and it's not like, yes, we were stealing, but we were stealing with this sort of like, take what you want. That's easy to interpret.
Steal as much as you
22.
want. Yeah.
We're stoned, So it was like going to Sam's for free.
That's amazing.
Like our house was loaded with chips and veggie burgers and like all the toilet paper. Like just.
Which is a very valuable commodity.
Yeah, I mean, we were broke.
That doesn't come cheap. You get
the only
that
thing we couldn't
pack.
get there was beer.
But you could
Sparks is what we were drinking at the time. Yeah.
You know how many times I stayed awake because of that?
Yeah, that was
some good days actually in Austin.
Yeah.
So when was this? Like
2002, 2003.
Yeah, the early days.
Yeah,
it was good
Mm-hmm.
when they still allowed you to put caffeine in an alcoholic beverage. That lots of innovation was done.
Oh yeah,
I think.
I believe so.
Probably.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that was actually a pretty good time, but when did you get fed up with it?
No, I think I got fired. Maybe I left. I can't remember.
That's how inconsequential it was.
Oh right? Yeah. I even like I'm kind of a pack rat, so I kept my little badge and my lanyard for a long time.
Did you have a hat?
No, I didn't have to have a hat. No.
Damn.
I feel like what happened was, so I was working for my roommate's brother. He was kind of like the manager of the security company, and I feel like we lost some accounts, and he just didn't have the shifts to go around anymore.
Right.
And so, while I was in college, I had worked in restaurants,
doing serving,
everything.
Do
you remember, how long have you been here?
Since 2000.
Okay, so do you remember Old Zoot, where Fabian Rossi is?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I started there.
Oh, really?
I started there in 2000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I remember going into work on September 11th, and it was just like, bummer.
Yeah.
I worked there for quite a bit. So I was, 19 at the time I started, and I was a dishwasher. I had worked before that as a waiter at a small chain from Corpus that closed up here. They had a restaurant.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, so I wanted to cook so bad. Actually, I was gonna drop out of college
to go to culinary
school. I was taking French at UT. I applied to the Paul Bocuse School in Lyon, France.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Got accepted.
You did.
And this is at a time before culinary school became the
thing
money
to do,
mill.
Right? Yeah.
So I got accepted at a school that would have cost total about $18,000.
Holy shit! How many years is that?
3 years.
For $18,000.
Well, you could do 2, but if you did the third, that was like the management stuff, and so I was going to do the 2-year.
The business element of it.
Yeah. Like I was only 20 at the time. I wasn't quite ready to. And I was getting so fed up with college. Like, I like the social aspect of college.
Sure.
I'm not, like, if I'm not interested in the subject that I have to study, I have a hard
tuned out,
time.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the same. Like, because you end up starting to think, like, I think my time could be used better than just sitting here.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's actually, I think, a really business-centric mind. Because you're like, well, I need to make better use of this time.
Yeah.
So, but why'd you end up not going?
Well, so I did all the and that I don't know if you know much about that school, but that school is like it is where it was at the time. Like I did my phone interview and whatnot. They offered me admission. I was really stoked, but also really scared because I'm just kind of a homebody.
Yeah,
my family's here. Like it's not that I love to travel. But making a move like that
for a while.
Yeah.
3
years,
years presumably.
Well, least,
2, yeah.
Well, they don't let you have to speak French.
Oh.
And so that's why I was taking French. You have to be in uniform at all times. If you're walking on campus and a chef walks by and you're not in your chef whites, they can ask you to leave.
like
not
leave
to
the
say,
school.
yeah.
Holy
because they're
crap.
very, it's like a Scoffier style where it's very military, like, we chef, all that crap.
Yeah.
And not even just a joke, like the real deal.
Sure.
So, anyway, I went through the whole process and was totally ready to go. But working in kitchens made me kind of wonder, is this what I want to really do with my life? Because that sounds romantic. The whole let's go to France and learn the way.
Right.
But then I'm like already working in kitchen or in Zoot, and I was dishwashing and garde-manger and prep and all that stuff. A little bit of saute. It was like the kid who gets to sit behind the bar. Bartender lets you make a couple drinks, things like that. Or it's like, can I pick up that ticket, chef? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go smoke my cigar.
Not a cigarette, but a cigar.
Yeah, he was a cigar smoker.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, he's cool. But no, I got kind of just like burned out, or I was burning out, and I was like, dude, I'm not even really doing this for real yet. I mean, I am.
Yeah, but
because
it's
I'm
not
working the shit
that
job.
level of involvement.
Right.
You're not like, you don't have to dress up that much. I imagine, right?
No,
that's a whole nother level. You're entering the military.
Right, and then it's like, if you invest in that, you better be a chef.
That's it.
That's your or a cook or whatever. Commis. So I had jaw surgery the summer. I guess I was 21, because I had to have my jaw. It was elective surgery, but it was to prevent any sort of further like lockjaw or
was it TMJ related?
TMJ.
Yeah.
So I had a malocclusion type 3, which is a crossbite, and in order to correct it, my orthodontist, I had braces that gave me an underbite, and then the idea was to cut pieces out of my jaw and slide it back and sew it up to make it an overbite, like a proper bite.
Right.
And so I left Austin, went home to Corpus for the surgery, stayed there. It went for like 16 weeks with my mouth wired shut.
4 months.
I lost a ton of weight. I go back to the restaurant.
Wait, real quick. What do you eat during that part? Like, is it all through a straw?
Ensure and soup. Yeah.
That's
not through a straw, but through like a big syringe that doesn't have a needle. It just has like
the
a
plastic end.
Oh, man. That was brutal.
That's real brutal.
It sucked.
But you look good, right?
Yeah, man, I was svelte. Got down to like 160 for the first time since high school. So I got back up to Austin, and I go back to get my job back, which I was staying in touch with the chef. Well, he'd left, and a new chef, and it was like I started back at the bottom.
Oh, man.
And I kind of felt a little bit like dissed by that.
Yeah, that's kind of a diss, man.
Yeah, because it's like I was actually like, and the kid I was working with at the time, we were both dishwashers, and we're both like, he'd been there maybe a couple months before me, so naturally he gets first dibs.
Sure.
But he's already like moved up to wherever he was in the hotline, and it's like, yeah, you can have your dishwashing job back. So I did that, and then like the sous chef was such an ass.
Yeah.
Like I hated this dude. He was an ex-meth head, and he was just so wrong.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, you know what? I'm not going to work New Year's Eve here. So
yeah, fuck y'all.
It was like 10 days away. It's the first time I've ever quit a job without like proper 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I was like, I know I'm going to get like screwed with this schedule. So my last day is going to be December 30th.
Wow.
So peace.
See you guys. But that's in a sense, it's good that it happened because it kind of straightens things out and you kind of see things for what they are. It's like, well, if you're there's a loss of humanity kind of to it and softness, and that's like something that's really important to be there.
I get it, new chef, whatever. Yeah. It's his kitchen now,
but still, like, you put some dues in, but no one's gonna recognize that.
I had been there for almost at least a year, I think.
Yeah, I mean that's not anything to scoff at.
No, showed up every shift, like
for sure.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, so I from there I followed the old chef to the mansion at Judges Hill, which is now Hotel Ella and all that.
Okay.
That was 2003. They were like desperate for front of house staff because it was a hotel. So they had breakfast starting at 6, like room service, all the way up to dinner, brunch, all the whole stuff. So I interviewed pretty well, and even though I'd only been a waiter at one place, and that place was not on the level, and I like came in, they needed me like the next day, and I guess I did well because they were like, "You're awesome, thank you so much for like killing it," and so, but then of course I'm given like, "How do you feel about being the like head waiter at breakfast?" All right, whatever. So like 5 days a week, and but I made some like friends that I still have now.
No kidding.
And that.
But so, did you make the when you're doing the Hotel Ella, you said, and doing that?
Yeah, the mansion. Yeah,
in the
mansion at Judges Hill.
Did you already make the decision then that you're not going to Leon?
Oh yeah,
you'd made it.
Yeah, that. Oh yeah. So coming back from the mouth wired shut.
Yeah.
I worked at Zoot for the next 6 months or whatever it was, or I guess 6 months is exaggerating. It would have been like September, October, November, December, so 4 months.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be that guy.
Choice,
I don't want to work with that guy. Like,
so it's like no Leon, no Zoot, moving on.
Well, and it's like, and I like this industry because I was getting like enchanted with the waiter side. Like they're the dudes making like all the money. It's
pretty lucrative.
Drinking all the good wine.
Yeah.
And
they have to, right? They've got to know.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I want to do that. Like I'm not going to graduate school. I don't want to teach history.
Yeah.
I've always loved cooking, and I was getting into wine just on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to the mansion, and that was like my first sort of real exposure to real wine. I remember working a wine tasting one time. This was pretty early on. And this was a group that probably still does this, but I just don't know where they do it in Austin. It's this group of guys that they're all collectors, and they get together and they crush their cellars.
Oh, cool.
And they do like crazy verticals. And I remember the words on the label, but at the time they meant nothing to me.
Yeah,
and I told myself then, like, don't forget this because this means something.
Sure.
And I never forgot it. Like, I know what wines I had then, even though then I had no idea what I was drinking.
Right. Which is that's a real smart move.
Right. It was a Burgundy vertical of mainly Grand Cru Burgundies from like 74 to like 84.
Wow.
Of this like great producer. So I mean, we're talking like $1,000
really expensive bottles. Yeah.
And they're like, here, try it. Like, have the rest. Like, because they're intellectual about it.
Yeah, they want to share it.
Yeah. I mean, they don't, to them, it's not, it has a price tag, but I mean, that was the first time I had Dom Perignon ever, and it was 1996 Dom Perignon.
Wow.
Like, that's absurd.
Yeah.
Vintage port from a good year. I think it was 77, which is a really good year.
So, but this is all these things are, because you're out of college at this point, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to teach.
I was 22, 23.
22, which is like just you're a big sponge for knowledge, right?
Yeah.
You get out of school and you're like, whatever is not sitting in a classroom, put me in a situation where I'm going to learn, I'm going to talk to people, I'm going to meet people, all these kinds of things. And so the wheels they seem like they're turning. So
for sure.
Did you maybe take your interest in cuisine and in cooking and kind of shift it to the components of spirits or wine? Whatever, right?
Well, and it was almost just like, I want to be like a great server because I like food.
Mm-hmm.
I gel well with back of house.
Yeah.
I think I do. I've got a lot of.
Well,
chef
I'll
friends.
ask him after.
Ask a few. Yeah, see what my rep is around town.
Yeah,
I feel like I do. They all like my stuff on Instagram. No, I mean
the true measure of friendship.
Yeah, right. No, I feel like because I know what it likes to have that job.
Yeah,
I know what it's like.
You're empathetic.
Yeah.
You can understand how it feels. Yeah.
And for the most part, like I think most dudes that do that job are pretty rad dudes, Yeah. And I hate the whole back house, front of house thing. So and even in high school, I was like a diplomat.
Yeah.
I was, hacky sacking, like surf guy. Like my little friend group, our nights we would like watch David Attenborough and
yeah. Really?
Yeah, and like just be weird, you know? Like we were nerdy, but we weren't the nerds.
Yeah.
You know? Most of my friends were more into surfing than I was, but I still would go out with them.
Yeah.
You know, like I would go out in the nice months. They were all like surf bums, you know, but so I wasn't a prep, but I was friends with a lot of the preps. I wasn't you know, jock.
Seems like you're kind of like a man of the people.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any interest in doing like city council work or anything like that?
No way.
Because I've talked to a couple people and they're like they possess this skill set. And they're like, yeah, you know what? What do you want to rebuild that bill? I'll sign up for the different zoning. Sure, Josh, that'd be great.
Not after what I've been through. Do I want to involve myself in any sort of city bureaucracy? No.
Now that's fair. That's completely fair. But you said that did that take you to some point? It sounds like you headed into the distribution piece of it.
No, not distribution, but that was like my first real bartending job. Was at that hotel.
Yeah.
And it's funny.
Was it a real bartender job?
No. No, the service bar was downstairs, but that was nice because like you got to be down there by yourself.
Yeah.
You know, try stuff. When I say try stuff, I mean like, what is this Tanqueray gin? You know,
still, that's not a bad place to learn.
No, exactly. Yeah, I mean, that was still like we were like hardcore in the teeny phase of things. So all of our drinks on the menu were this teeny, that teeny.
Gotcha.
So it was great. You know, cut your teeth on bullshit drinks.
Yeah, and like you don't. It's not your reputation.
No.
You know? So you can just kind of immerse yourself like, well, these are the guys making the drinks.
Yeah. And I mean, I didn't even know what I was really looking at anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like there was no such thing as rye whiskey. There was no such thing as rye whiskey in the conversation.
Right,
at the time.
Exactly. It's a thing there.
Right.
But it's
Maker's Mark was bourbon and that was it.
Yeah, it's insane. Even in Asia, it's like that.
Yeah.
Jack is that's the only bourbon. I'm like,
right.
But that's not.
Yeah.
But it takes a while for that conversation to change.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you notice it changing as you kind of got it?
Well, of course, like as things progressed, I was, we were, because we were a hotel, we did catering stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got to like learn, I mean, because catering bartending is a style too.
Yeah.
It's sort of like club bartending with a very limited menu, but it's all fast and it's all at once.
Totally.
And you look like a dork because you're wearing, you know, there it was like vest and bow tie. I mean, you look like
Party
you're in
down.
New Orleans, but but you're not.
Yeah.
You're in West Campus. But yeah, like really fast service, but you do have to smile because it's not like you're at a club.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where you just learn the whole how to execute a whole bunch of plus ones all at once, just like speed pour, you know.
So you liked it?
Yeah, I liked it. I wasn't necessarily like, oh, I need to be a bartender, but what I did want to do was do wine, and then that's basically where Fino comes in. Fino opened in 2005.
Was that when Bill was there?
Yeah,
Francisco too? Or no, not yet.
No. So Bill and I were both original hires.
Yeah,
and
because you realize like this is the interesting thing. It's like the Yardbirds, right? So Jimmy Page headed out of there, Eric Clapton out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Fino at that time, and it was new in 2005. Is that when it kind of started?
Brand new, yeah, June 2005.
There are so many personalities and so many really talented people that came out of that place.
Oh,
why is that? I mean, I've been there, of course, when it was open. I'd been there, I bet.
Yeah. I mean, I would say timing and zeitgeist, you know?
Yeah.
Bill was the obvious, like, talent in 2005 of the original bar team. Yeah. That bar opened, and it was just like every other restaurant bar.
Yeah.
Sangria machine, more lemon drops sold than anything.
Really?
Margarita Mojitoville.
Yeah.
Big time. I think so. Imbibe came out in 2007, right? Okay. So Bill I'm romanticizing this story.
No, please do.
I don't think it quite went like this, but I feel like it went like this. He read that book on a trip to New Jersey, where he's from.
Where he's from, yeah.
He comes back and he's like, "Dude, we're doing this all wrong." And it was like that.
A creative makeover.
Yeah.
That's
well, I mean, because we were doing like infusions and stuff. Like he was definitely like creating cool stuff.
Sure.
And stuff that was relevant. You know, like we had these drinks that he definitely started making Fino a destination and a spotlight in Austin, you know, for cocktail culture before we even knew that that was
there
gonna
was
be
a culture
thing.
that people gave a shit. Yeah,
exactly.
But I guess it's interesting because I think about it, and perhaps it's breaking things down to their fundamentals. You know what I mean? Like that saying, oh yeah, there's infusions, there's all this kind of this stuff that's going on, but somehow being inspired to say it can be simpler than this and like whole ingredients in a sense.
And better,
And better,
yeah, for sure.
So he comes back and he comes pounding
back
his fist on the bar.
Well, and it was just like he got a copy of the Savoy cocktail book. I mean, we were doing, again, I'm going to implicate ourselves here, but we
were doing God's work. Goddamn.
We had illegal bottles of Luxardo Maraschino,
which is insane that it would be illegal, right? Because it's just ubiquitous now.
Right. I know, it's everywhere. So we were doing like aviations, like on the sly. You know, Creme de Violette wasn't here yet, so he had this little Mister bottle where he just like and then like tuck it away because he thought it like any day someone's
you guys
watching.
Would get in trouble. Yeah,
it's like no.
Isn't that just like just to think about for the second? Because that's like 2005, so it's only about a decade ago.
Yeah,
and that
no, this was actually 2007.
Oh shit! So even less than a decade.
Know, yeah,
that all of this stuff's like, oh yeah, Creme de Violette.
Yeah,
you know, we all know the stuff you can get it.
10 of them.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yeah. That's a profound amount of advancement in a really short amount of time.
Well, you go to Tales every year, right?
I don't, but I mean, I read up on the seminars and stuff,
Every year, it's just like, wow. Yeah. Like, there's this many more people, there's this many more ideas, there's this many more products. I mean,
it's insane.
A year feels like a short amount of time sometimes until you add up what happens in your own industry.
Yeah.
The bars that open.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And so did you guys had no idea then how influential that program would be?
No, not at all.
That's good. It keeps you humble.
Yeah, of course. And and we weren't, I mean, we were just doing it because it felt like the right thing to do. I was the wine director and I would go to Bill to be like, you know, is this list balanced? Am I buying the right wines right now? Because I have palate fatigue and what do you think of this? And he'd come to me with his cocktails and be like, what is this missing? Or is this where it needs to be? So it was a great little like complimentary thing. And I mean, I was able to learn the fundamentals that I needed to learn at the right time.
Yeah.
You know, like
you were there,
it's
like
okay
when it
to
started.
stir a cocktail.
Yeah. God, why is people I was at work the other day shaking a protein shake. Right. Just, do it, which is a wonderful thing. I was actually thinking about. Like, what if Josh ever shakes his protein shakes like he shakes his cocktails, right? Like, we're just kind of the circular thing. But some guys like, oh, you're making a Manhattan, and I'm like, no fucking schmuck would ever shake a Manhattan. I told him straight up, and I'm like, what has happened to me?
Right.
You know, like to your point, like stirring cocktails, it is now really part of the narrative, and it's part of the conversation all the time now. Definitely. To do things in an attention-driven way, and to do them in like a balanced way.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
So, do you recall if there was a spirit or a scenario that kind of shifted you from wine to the cocktail part of it, or was it just always flavors?
No, I was always. I just felt like it was not maybe the next logical step because I still love wine and I drink it all the time. It's for the most part. It's like what I like to sit around and drink, other than Calvados, you know.
So really wonderful segue, Josh. So we've, every time we pick a bottle, you're the first to pick a Calvados. God bless you. And this is the Le Morton, which is a 70-30 split of apple and pear. So it's got nice brightness, but also earthiness. This is the Reserva, which you said is around 6 years.
I think it is 6 to 8, maybe. And probably 6. Yeah,
something like that. But it's got great color on it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, there's no additives in it. It's
Nothing,
40%. And what is it that draws you to Calvados? Not that it needs any explaining,
right?
But there's something about it that's got to be exciting to you.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think I love brandy in general.
Yeah.
And I love most things French. I'd be lying if I said that French wine isn't my favorite.
Yeah.
Did I say that right? Or is that 3 double negatives?
I don't know. Anyway. I'm not really good at math, so it's hard to say. You might be up one. I don't know.
I mean, if I had to have a wine for the rest of my life, it'd probably be champagne.
Yeah.
You know, and with that, you know, I think that Cognac and Armagnac and Calvados just have this nice little tucked away.
Yeah.
You can't ever mess with them. I love Laird's. I think Laird's is great
it's
for
different,
cocktails.
Though.
It's way different.
Yeah, it's a little punkier.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's edgier.
Yeah,
it's rougher.
And this is like, for somehow more suave.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but the Calvados is always just a little bit more nuanced.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's the difference in the personalities, too.
Yeah, for
Think
sure.
about Americans making spirits and stuff. I mean bourbon is that way, right?
It's definitely, it's one of those things where it's a spirit of place.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Can't make it anywhere else.
And
so there's an attraction to that.
And Armagnac to me is like Elliott Smith,
mm-hmm.
an amazing songwriter that's always underappreciated.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it predates Cognac.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah.
It's
and their style and everything about it is, it's definitely like the more like, you know, it's a good, what's the word I'm looking for? Not reference.
I don't know. Metaphor.
Yeah.
Maybe
exactly.
metaphor.
I don't know why.
It's always metaphor just by default.
Yeah, exactly. Because everybody knows the cognac houses.
Absolutely.
I mean, it dominates the market.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're all kind of bullshit.
Yeah. There's a lot of deception there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A whole nother conversation, but
we don't have to get into that.
Yeah, dude, but it is.
I'm not
talk to Nicholas Plazzi just for a few minutes.
Yeah.
And you'll know that it's a big fucking sham.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's Armagnac is still pretty. It's not auto-tuned. It's not overproduced. It just is what it is.
It's still natural. DIY. Is the thing.
That's great.
It's the Matador Records of spirits.
Absolutely.
You know?
DIY for sure.
Yeah.
So how long were you at Fino then total?
Oh, jeez. Well, I was there, so I was the wine director from not day one, but year one.
Yeah.
Up until I left, which I think was 2012.
Oh, really? So you're 7
years.
7 years.
Yeah, because I was hired in 2005 as just a waiter, and I became wine director with a buddy of mine. We kind of like co-did it. He moved out of town.
Mm-hmm.
I took it over. That was and then
that's a longer stint than most people have.
Yeah, for sure. I was there for a long time. I went so I started doing Asti also because it's owned by the same folks. And I also went to Vino Vino.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to, I was getting burned out on the floor at Fino.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be the wine buyer still, but just go do something else. And Vino Vino was pretty new at the time. They had just started with their by the glass license by the time I was hired. They'd been open as a grab and go. Okay. But they
not serving on premise
not
yet.
Serving, yeah. They actually he kind of got stung for it at one point. So anyway, the wine buying of all those three places is what like really immersed me. And more in the wine than I've ever been, and that's how I got to go to France and Italy and all that. But I was still picking up shifts, like bar shifts at Fino to cover if Bill needed something.
Right.
And I eventually went back as like the kind of daytime bar guy.
Yeah.
To be the like yin to his yang.
You couldn't leave it.
No,
there's something enigmatic about Bill.
Yeah,
in that sense. You know?
And also I like that aspect of service.
Yeah.
I like bars. Yeah. So anyway, I left Vino Vino and took a part-time job at Eastside Showroom, which had been open about 6 weeks, 2 months or so.
Who was it? Was Dressel down there then?
That's where I met him.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah. And then I got him a job at Pheno.
No kidding.
There's a lot of people that went through Pheno.
And then you both ended up at Cowboy.
And then he hired me at Cowboy.
That's insane.
As a bill.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I took the job. So Adam Bryan was the bar manager at Showroom. Yeah. And I wanted to work there to like hone my chops.
What would have been more complex about it there?
Because it was like, that was when East 6th was starting to get hip.
Yeah.
And the kind of cocktail menu, I mean, I'm not going to say that we couldn't do, like, because Pheno definitely had, like, out there cocktails for the type of clientele that were going there.
Yeah.
Like, they had to put full faith in that bar because we were making, I even think, weirder than they should have been.
Yeah.
You know, because we were just, whatever, having
but
fun.
Maybe it wasn't like as classic and old school feeling as Eastside, because that was the vibe. Maybe like more not actually
vintage,
clinical is a word I think about it. You know, it's like wow, but it's this old one. You know.
Yeah. And also just volume wise, I knew Bill had always been talking about leaving.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do something else. I'm not even sure if Haddington's was actually an idea at that point, but I knew there was something, like he was going to leave.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm the heir apparent here, and I want to take over this bar program when he leaves because I feel like I'm ready, but I'm not ready because, like, yeah, I've tended bar here, but I want to go get my ass kicked.
You want to get the PhD, like go to the masters in this.
Right. And I want to meet Adam Bryan and Brian Dressel. I didn't know who they were at the time, but so I worked there and worked there for about 10 months, and then I only quit because Bill finally did, like, Haddington's happened. And then
Did you move over there?
Where? Haddington's? No,
right?
No, I was at Pheno, and I left Pheno to go do Weather Up and Midnight Cowboy.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that. And that's actually relatively recent.
Yeah, 2012.
2012 within the past few years.
Yeah, Cowboy was March of 2012. Yeah. South by the day of.
Yeah. That, it's funny, and I hopefully when I have more conversations, and I'll be hopefully doing this for years and get to talk to all these different people from different regions and stuff. But there is this special moment that is synergistic. God forbid I use that word, but in something in the air helped everybody align to be at Cowboy at that time.
Yeah.
And it was like, and I've mentioned this before, and I can't remember which year, Ewing, Jordan were all in the Olympics. It was the first time that we competed.
88, maybe.
Thank you. Yeah. Like probably the late 80s.
Yeah.
The Dream Team.
Yeah. Or 92, maybe.
Yeah. I can't remember. I just had the score basketball card. I can't remember exactly which one it was. But that's what that was for Austin. That was... Like, so Justin Elliott at some point at least, Adam Bryan, yourself, Brian, goddamn,
Stephen Robbins,
yeah,
Justin Mork,
dude, there's just so many fucking people.
Yeah.
Like, did you feel like it was that great?
Oh, we knew it. Or I mean, that sounds cocky, but seriously, like it was like we were all friends.
Yeah.
Like at that time.
What in a sense, it's like what son of a bitch would put you all in the same room together? Like,
in a closed environment,
dark place that smells
with all
good,
the
with
Fernet.
leather.
Yeah,
like what is someone thinking, enabling that group?
I know,
but it seems like that was a think tank.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, it's there's two schools of thought with the whole like working with your friends. A lot of people, don't do that.
Right.
But no, I mean, that's also the people have your back and you can trust. Maybe you can get taken advantage of more easily, but there's just you always know what you're going to get, at least when it's people that you drink with, and there's no way you're not going to be friends with your coworkers when you're a bartender, especially a bartender that only works in this like high design craft cocktail world,
right?
That works in a community that's so small and tight as Austin.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you'd be a misanthrope and you wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
It's
totally true. Did it ever take its toll, like on your health and your mental stability? You always seem kind of put together to me.
I would say so. The showroom was hard on me. There I had a hard shift there that I was like, all right, I'm done. I can't do this.
Yeah.
And Weather Up was hard on me.
It's pretty tough too.
Yeah. No, Cowboy was always just Cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
known quantity.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, that's the best way you there's rarely going to be like an event that, I mean, yeah, you can be there late and you can work 4 nights or 5 nights a week, and that'll put a whole
I remember Justin was saying that once he left Cowboy, he lost like 30 pounds.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, it was something pretty significant when he moved over. It's like,
well, yeah, because I mean, you shame eat when you get home at like 5 a.m.
Right.
It's just not the good stuff.
No.
Or you eat down there and it's
not the good stuff.
Not the good stuff, definitely. Well, now there's Eastside King, so that's cool.
Which is pretty good. Yeah. It's quality.
Yeah.
But you still can't just eat that all the time.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like you eat the fried chicken sandwich 4 nights a week. And
you love it, but you'll feel it.
Oh, yeah.
You'll hate it after a while. When did you get into the world of bitters then?
Oh, that was at Fino.
Yeah.
So I was making those only because I love Chinese food.
Yeah.
And
so
we talked about
sometimes that may seem like a non sequitur.
Yeah.
Like, I like bitters because I like Chinese food.
Yeah. No, I've lived up here. So, I lived up in North Austin for four years, and in basically the backyard of Asia Cafe. And so that's not an endorsement. So don't go.
Don't go eat there all the time.
Don't make it hard for people like me. Yeah. So it just seemed kind of weird. I don't know. There was a time when I was way more in the whole mixology thing, and that was definitely like we were already making bitters at Fino.
Right.
It was fun. It's this kind of blend of experimentation and science and art, I guess. And I was like, there's all of these 4 ingredients of Chinese 5-spice that are found in most bitters. But why hasn't anyone done Chinese 5-spice? And I made them anyway. Like I had probably, I don't know, 18 ounces of them sitting around. I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot, full like liter mason jar. And I went to a Bar Congress had just opened, and I went to a Japanese whiskey seminar hosted by Nea White. And after him, this woman that worked for the Green Bar Collective did this, like, oh, hey, by the way, we have this, like, contest or whatever. And I remember from Tales of the Cocktail the year before, vaguely, the first contest that's launched that line.
Right.
And I was like, oh, cool. Well, this one's, like, only for California and Texas. So that limits the
competitors, right? Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah, because the first one was like nationwide for sure, because those guys are all from all over the place. And I was like, well, man, I already have these like around.
Yeah.
I remade them though. I remember I submitted them and I called them like Chinese 5-spice bitters number 2 because that was what they were listed on my little sheet, and they had to edit the 5-spice part because of, FDA stuff or TTB. I don't remember which one, which is why they're just called Chinese bitters. And then they took off the number 2 because they have a weird sense of humor. They were like, I don't understand.
It makes you seem like you've been around in business for a while if you do number 2. It's actually pretty good marketing.
Well, it's just
where's
like
number 1?
The first one I didn't like, and not to, but Reagan's did that.
Yeah.
That was the formula that worked, and I was like, well, that makes sense.
Yeah,
this is the formula I like. And then so it didn't hurt that Adam Bryan and Jeff Boley were the final judges.
Oh yeah.
I will go ahead and admit that was
nepotism might have helped a little bit.
90% of why I won. The other guy that was competing against me, though, I will say, he put up an orange bitter, and while he was explaining to the group when
His
we had
fly
to
was down?
present it. No. He was like, yeah, I chose orange because I don't feel like there's any in the market. And I'm not
Really?
the only one that looked around the room to be like,
have you done
what
any market research?
do you go to?
Yeah.
Like Fiesta?
Yeah, because they've got some.
Yeah, because they actually might.
Even Fiesta has
they
some.
might have Angostura orange.
Yeah.
But I was like, what? Orange bitters not in the market? If there's a saturation in the bitters market, and we're talking 2011
and
or
there was
whatever.
still some.
Yeah,
even like 10
there
times
was
now.
Fee Brothers, there was Reagan's,
Yeah,
there was Angostura, there was Bitter Cube.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there were at least 5 in Texas.
Yeah,
Scrappies,
yeah.
they were here. You know, so I was like, okay, whatever. You know, but neither here nor there.
Did you enjoy the experience of having that out there?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was not. It kind of fell in my lap because I already had them.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to start a thing.
An empire.
No,
of bitters.
no, I don't
see,
even.
that's the thing that's interesting for me to know because I didn't realize that.
Right.
I see, you see a bottle, you see a brand. It was like you in a hat or something,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, dude, this guy's he's a bitter emperor. You know,
right?
But that was not you just fell into it. It happened to be something that was utilitarian for you at the Fino, and
yeah, it was funny. The whole hat thing is their call too.
Really?
It's, I mean,
were you insulted?
No, but they're like, wear like a bartender hat. And I was like, oh, well, what is a bartender hat? Please
you get
tell me.
the S&M 70s hats with the leather one or the vinyl hat. Like that's not the right one.
No, it's like they want the the steampunk cliche bartender look. And I made I was on the phone I think with him.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, ooh, I have this awesome rice paddy farmer hat.
Like Raiden from Mortal Kombat.
And I was making a joke. They're Chinese bitters, and they're like
just slightly racist, not that much.
Just
a little bit,
just a kiss, And they were like, "Why would you wear that?"
Oh, jeez.
I was like, "Never mind. That's not okay."
Have you not seen Big Trouble in Little China? Goddamn it!
We will go with a driver hat because that's what bartenders wear.
Right?
Yeah.
Did they make you wear suspenders too?
No.
Or a vest?
I've had to. I applied for, or not applied for, but whatever. Tried out for bar rescue.
Did you really? To be one of the consultants?
Oh God, yeah. I told them. I'm not your guy. Yeah,
I don't do enough cocaine to be on your show.
Yeah, I can't compete with John Taffer. That was it. I could not possibly steal his limelight. So
yeah,
the reason I thought of that is you have to dress up like a bartender.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The
and
one guy that looks like Houston.
That, I'm like,
you know the guy I'm talking about that looks like Houston Eves? He's like Houston's doppelganger kind of, but he always wears that Newsies cab hat.
No,
he's on some of he and Russell Davis on some of them, and it's just an what's the word, caricature,
affectation.
Yeah. It's just if some guy were to draw you in stupid proportions on this in Orange County, that's what it would look like.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're like, fuck it, didn't want to mess with it.
No, I did one when I did the final phone interview. I was just like, I don't think this is for me.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Good. Well, it didn't seem to hurt too much.
No, I didn't. I mean, because I don't know. I watched the show and I admitted to the executive producer when he called me. I was like, I have a hard time making it through your show.
Yeah, it's pretty.
And he has this whole LA I don't understand. Tell me more about that. He's trying to get kind of a bead on it. Yeah, exactly. Because he called. His name was Josh. He's like, hey, Josh, this is Josh. And I'm like, what is this?
We're not on the radio,
yeah,
man.
I know. It was crazy. I was like, I gotta go change my noodles.
I gotta go make dumplings with my
real quick.
Family. Yeah. That's funny. I mean, and it's probably good that it didn't work out. So you ended up doing the McGuire Group. You were consulting for them. That's when I think I had met you. Mm-hmm. And you were doing this Brotherly Love cocktail, but you also were doing a cocktail, and I will stamp it, affix it to my memory of what I love about cocktails. You were doing some kind of, I think this was you that was doing a sherry cocktail. But you...
Maybe so.
Yeah, it's one of those things in there. They would always tell me, Josh borrowed this from...
Oh, yeah. It was Jackson Cannon's cocktail.
Uh-huh.
He's a partner at Eastern Standard in the Hawthorne in Boston. Yeah. So he and I were co-competitors at the Venus the Sherry competition that's hosted by Steve Olson.
Oh, Steve Olson. Okay.
Yeah, Wine Geek.
Yeah.
And it's actually judged by a couple of the other Bar 5 guys,
right.
When they're available.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a couple years ago, and I really like became not fast friends. I was there for 2 days, but we gravitated towards each other. Like, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
He's a little bit older than me. He's a father.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Lots
a bar
in common.
manager. Yeah, tons in common, because we had that thing where it's like, it's hard to be like the guy who wakes up at 7 a.m. to make pancakes when I went to bed at 4 in the evening after taking a shot of Fernet.
Yeah.
And I thought his cocktail was the best. I mean, the other ones were great. I thought his was crazy imaginative and so simple.
Mm-hmm.
You have to use sherry, obviously.
There's something about sherry that is like using MSG in a meal. You know what I mean? It's that kind of umami note, and it's kind of has salinity. That it's an easy cheat.
Yeah,
but a classy one.
Right. You know, definitely. I like all the classics that have sherry in it. So I reached out to him because I wanted a bold Sazerac style drink, which is what his was. I mean, we're talking about Jeffrey's here.
Sure.
If I'm gonna make a cocktail that the type of fella that goes in
it is white. It's white.
Yeah.
I lived right around the corner.
Yeah.
Bunch of white dudes.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Rich.
Yep.
It has to go in a tumbler.
Yep.
It can't go in a coupe, or it can. If it's a martini, it can go in a martini glass or Manhattan. But if it's not that, yeah, and that's how he liked to present that drink. So he was totally, he was like, I'd be honored if you featured it.
It was a great fucking drink.
And obviously not very many people ordered it, but when they did, if you had the right conversation with them, this is a great drink. I found out later though that so it's based on the crema de mezcal from Del Maguey.
Oh, okay.
But the crema, the sweetened one.
Yeah.
And someone just swapped out Vita one day, and that was all she wrote for that drink.
Oh, no kidding.
And I think I was gone by that point. Or maybe. I can't remember.
But you were touch and go, not maybe mentally, but just physically.
Of course. I mean, I was a manager, so I couldn't really, 10 bar there.
Right.
They didn't want that. They wanted a separation. But I remember, finding that out, and I was like, well, no shit, people refused it. That was the sweetness of it. I mean, it was manzanilla, a little bit of Carpano Antica, and predominantly crema de mezcal.
Yeah, which has all the sweeteners. So where else it can come from?
Yeah, so I was like, that's why hard time selling it.
Well, so how long did it take you to figure out that, man, I've got enough licks now, I really have to start my own place?
Well, I've been working on that for, I guess as an idea, long time. Brian Stubbs, who's my business partner, was the GM at Fino. We talked about opening a place, getting the idea together, probably as early as 2010. Yeah, because I remember I was working at Eastside Showroom. He came to visit me, and that was when Bill gave his notice, and he was like, you're going to take over that bar, and that'll be your opportunity to meet the investor group.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Which actually, that's not far from the truth. I met a couple guys that led me to a couple other guys, and the way the networking works.
Some investors.
Yeah. So 2010 is where the seed was planted to do that. And then by the time I was at Jeffrey's, I was already actively looking for a space. I had the business plan. I knew that Jeffrey's was going to be a stopgap.
Sure.
Half Step was not in my future or my planned future. But that's just because things take longer than they take.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially when you talk about state agencies.
Yeah, exactly. I thought I was oddly or sillily enough, I thought I was kind of tracking at the same time as Half Step.
Yeah.
just based on, because I've known Chris longer than Half Step, and talking to him, I was like, oh, I think we're probably in the same.
It's insane. Like he just pulls clear ahead, and he's like, "Oh, you fucking know it."
Yeah, it's like they had all their ducks in a row for sure.
Yeah,
and I was still looking. I was at all different ponds trying to find the different ducks. Right.
Do you when I think about what is the thing that is uniquely you that Small Victory is? That Small Victory captures.
Well, I mean, I guess the wine thing. I've tried to explain that to people that I don't know if I've done a good job, but I still am as much of a wine guy as I am a cocktail guy. And
you have 2 mistresses.
Yeah. And I think that wine deserves. Well, okay. Maybe this is a better. I'll try to make it a quick explanation.
Sure.
I love the classic cocktail books.
Right.
And when you read those books, not only do you get the historical perspective, which totally speaks to like my history, interest and degree.
Yeah.
You realize that they were masters of all.
Yes.
Like Harry Craddock wrote a whole end part on all the wines of the time. They all did. Because there was no separation there.
Right.
Like as a barman, you had to be a master of being a host.
Mm-hmm.
You had to know like the type of food they served.
Yeah.
It was like you were basically just an employed party host. And so you had to know wine and beer and all that stuff. You couldn't just be like, oh, well, I'm a mixologist, but I don't really care about that other stuff. The
master of all trades.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so kind of what I'm trying to bring there, other than just a small, intimate environment that, not to say it doesn't exist yet, it just is that.
Yeah.
Like
so it is
physically small.
Physically small.
Yeah, I mean, it seats, I don't know how many it seats yet because I haven't put all the people in there yet.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're going to ever have more than 40 people in there.
That's incredible.
Unless we're breaking code or something. Yeah.
And then the fire department
shows up. Comfy too. So I guess with that, I want it to be like kind of that intimate, not necessarily Japanese cocktail bar where it's like 12 seats.
Right.
But something that straddles that and a little bit of rock and roll where it can be tight, it can be a little shoulder to shoulder, but it's not the same as being in like a bar.
Right.
And
what's the vibe? If you could explain it like aesthetically, what's the vibe like in there? I haven't seen it yet, obviously.
Yeah. You'll see it next week.
Next week?
If you're in town.
I'm in town.
Yeah. Oh. The email hasn't gone out yet.
Oh, well, shit.
Yeah.
Am I on an email list, Josh? Hey,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Soft openings next week.
I'm so stoked,
You're on the list.
That's fucking great. Thank you.
You can see the vibe.
Yeah.
Or I can tell you.
How about that? Well, so... Do you like aesthetic? Are you an aesthetic guy? Do you like appreciate colors and stuff? I think I made an aesthetic
place.
Yeah.
It's kind of less is more.
Yeah.
If anyone saw Mike's Pub before, it's nothing like it now. Absolutely.
Which is probably good.
I think so. It's a completely different concept, so I don't want to keep any of the trappings of the old place.
Yeah.
It's better to just not forget it, but fondly remember, and now it's a new thing.
It's an homage.
That's what every place does. It has these really cool exposed concrete pillars and rafter, and the main ceiling is old 1950s style board formed concrete, so it looks like a dance floor on the ceiling.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because it's concrete, but it looks
you know
like
who
wood.
I heard dances on the ceiling?
Who?
Lionel Richie.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, but I had to fucking do it.
That. Yeah,
that's good. No, so maybe there's no promises, of course. But Lionel Richie's been to Austin before. He's played living rooms before as ACL was rained out when I was out of town, unfortunately. So it's possible that Lionel Richie will know of Small Victory.
This is your invitation, Lionel Richie. Bring it.
I know absolutely no people that know Lionel Richie.
Come at me, bro. I will style you out.
Please do. So you're aiming for next week. So this is perfectly timely.
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
It's killer. I would love, man. Sometimes these conversations just line up really perfectly.
No, this is good. Today I got my liquor license. I woke up, checked the thing. I had a missed call from my TABC agent. Yeah. I knew what it meant, and I was just like, "Oh,
What'd you do? Did you jump?"
Well, I actually couldn't sleep well last night. I'm just
American Horror Story is really bugging me too.
Yeah, I'm just kind of like all the crap that's going through my head. Yeah. It keeps me up sometimes, and so I woke up at like 3:30 and couldn't get to bed until like or back to sleep rather until like 5:30 or 6.
Yeah.
So then I woke up around 8:30 and I'd missed that call, and I just laid there until like 9, and I was like, all right, I got to get up and do stuff.
And you had a voicemail.
But I had a liquor license.
Well, fucking congratulations,
in the digital
man.
world. Yeah, thank you.
That's an amazing. It's not an easy feat.
Yeah,
you've been there.
No, it's been the hardest.
It's typical.
Weirdly enough, it's been the hardest part, even though. Sorry, it's a pre-existing place downtown. But
yeah.
I'm not going to talk more about the TABC. I don't know.
No, it's fine. We both have our wonderful relationships with the TABC and respective peers, respective tiers of the wonderful.
No kidding.
TABC pyramid. Yes. 3-tier system.
The 3-tier system.
Fucking 3 tiers. Well, man, it's been incredible. Man, this is the thing. I love getting to know people because we go about an inch deep, and this is no pun, this is no sexual innuendo, but when you're behind the bar, you can only go so far.
Yeah, of course.
You can only really reach out so much to people. And, we've been touch and go just in that sense, just kind of catching each other behind bars and stuff. And so I had no fucking idea that all the stuff you've done, man, and all the stuff you've been through. But the best thing is, for some reason, I keep thinking of you in Spies Like Us. Where you're like, when you told me about the security job.
Oh, yeah.
I just imagine you, and you got to have like a perfect sidekick. I don't know who it is, but there's some comedic cinematic moment that you would capture perfectly, and I can't grasp it right now.
There were a few, definitely. Certainly my sidekick was my roommate, because we were like running game on those sorority houses.
Do you want some more Zarka, man?
We would on our shift change, we would walk around the block and smoke a blunt in West Campus. And
make more room for the food.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my God. I know. And I'd just sit there. I remember real quick, one time I was sitting outside. This is such a boring job. I'm reading what's the Gabriel Garcia Marquez book? 100 Years of Solitude.
Oh, I was thinking of cholera one.
Yeah, Loving the Time of Cholera. No, I was reading 100 Years of Solitude. This girl walks up and she's like, "What are you reading?" And I kind of show her. I was like, 100 Years of Solitude. She gives me that look like, impressive. And that's when I was like, yeah.
This is the best job I have ever had.
That was class right there. I'm the security guard. You're the white girl that I'm apparently protecting. And I impressed you because I can read a book. Yeah.
Some things never change.
Yeah. Nope. That was good.
Well, it's brilliant, man. Thank you so much for sharing the Calvados with me.
Thank you for sharing it with me.
It's been my pleasure. Yes. I cannot wait to check. If I'm invited next week, I'm fucking ecstatic.
Definitely.
Man. Looking forward to checking out.
We will drink all the Calvados. I didn't order any, but good. I need to.
Yeah. Well, I may.
There's other stuff.
There's other. It'll be good.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really good. Thanks so much for chatting with me, Josh.
Thank you. Yes.
So there we go, everybody. There's Josh Loving, the influential Josh Loving, there when all of the shit began in Austin, developing bitters, developing syrups. He's a great father, you can tell. He loves his son. He's not going to ever let late nights and getting just laced with booze. He's never going to let that be more important and a bigger priority than being a great father. I think all of these, Josh's experiences, his rich history, kind of comedic past, his lightheartedness, he doesn't seem to take himself too seriously. These are all great things, makes him really easy to talk to. Probably makes it really easy for Josh to be successful as well. And so this week, this show will drop tomorrow, Monday, but this Thursday and Friday, I think, officially, and maybe, I hope I'm not the first to announce this. I think Josh will have some stuff going out, but Small Victory will have its soft opening this week, and I am ecstatic to try it out. He thinks 40 people will fit in there. Maybe more will squeeze in, maybe less, but I bet it will be a beautiful experience, and I can't wait to see what kinds of cocktails and what kinds of wines and how everything just kind of comes together in this spot. So Josh, thanks so much for chatting with me. I've really learned a lot about the history of Austin, in a sense, and the history of yourself. So Small Victory again, opening up this week. I cannot wait to check it out, and I'm sure you are all invited, so please join me. All right, so thanks again, everybody, for listening to Show to V. I got to tell you, sometimes I get tired. Sometimes it's hard to pump out all these episodes, but the fact that every now and again I'll say, oh, hey, have you heard the show? Like, yeah, I've heard the show. I love the show. I've got a show. This is a great feeling. So I am excited, and I really do thank everybody for listening to Show to V with Mike G. And as always, no matter where in the world you are hanging out with Carmen Sandiego, keep dancing.